We continue our preview of every team going to the World Cup. Today, it's Morocco, the team that qualified so easily out of Africa, they made everybody else look foolish in the process. That's right, Morocco dominated a qualifying that is typically incredibly difficult to get out of unscathed African qualifying. Morocco had their group with Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, and Sudan. It's harder than they ended up making it look because they won all 6 matches with a plus 19 goal difference, allowing just 1 goal in the process. Now in Africa, you have to win this group and then win a playoff match against another team. They got the easiest draw you could possibly get. The Democratic Republic of the Congo was the team they were drawn against, and they handled them. After a 1-1 match in Kinshasa, nailed it. Morocco took the party up north, won the home leg 4-1, and went to the World Cup with a convincing 5-2 thumping when everybody else seemed to be going to penalties or stuck in 1-goal life or death situations when that final qualifying day out of Africa. Seriously, look, every other one of the matches was a nightmare, except for Morocco. They just bruise controlled their way through qualifying in Africa. Hard to do. And especially remarkable considering this is only the 6th World Cup Morocco has ever qualified for. It is the 2nd time that they've managed to qualify in consecutive World Cups. They went in 94 and 98, but after that, they didn't qualify again until 2018. So this, almost undoubtedly their best qualifying campaign ever. It actually is. We can prove that. They played 8 matches and won 7. Previously, their high total in wins in qualifying was 7, but that was in 10 matches played, so science. Morocco, however, has not had such success at the World Cup. They only have 2 wins in their 5 World Cup appearances, but one of those 2 wins did get them to the knockouts at Mexico 86, but that is the only time that Morocco has ever gotten out of the group stage, 1 for 5 in that respect. So it's not a nation that is accustomed to success at the World Cup level, but clearly based off the back-to-back qualifications, this is a golden generation. They proved that 4 years ago. The 2018 World Cup did give them one of their most famous results of all time. After losing to Iran 1-0 and losing to Portugal 1-0, they came up against a Spanish team that likely needed a result to go through and promptly took the lead on 2 separate occasions. Boutaib with a towering header in the first half, Youssef Nasiri with a breakaway in on goal in the second half to get Morocco out in front 2-1, only for Spain to come back and tie it both times. So it ended up being a 2-2 draw that was barely good enough to get Spain through, but Morocco still got a point off of one of the most talented teams in the world. Something worth noting, because I do believe this team, qualifying as my witness, is better than the team we saw from Morocco 4 years ago. And you don't even just need to reference qualifying, because fortunately for us, Africa Cup of Nations happened last year. It's a stage that Morocco's much more familiar with. They're a very regular participant in the Africa Cup of Nations. They've won it once back in 1976. But for the last 3 Africa Cup of Nations, Morocco hasn't just qualified, they've made it out of the group stage as well, with 2 quarterfinal appearances in 2017 and 2021, where, you'll never guess, Morocco won its group on 7 points. It drew Gabon but beat Comoros and Ghana. Remember, a Ghana team that is going to the World Cup, even though this Africa Cup of Nations display could be aptly described as and if this is the first time that you're noticing that Comoros got into the knockouts at the Africa Cup of Nations, isn't international ball fun? I can't promise Comoros, but if you do want to watch the entire World Cup, I'm doing watch-alongs to every single match at the Twitch link down in the description. In the round of 16, Morocco got matched up with Malawi and actually went behind before turning it around and getting a goal from Hakimi in the 70th minute to propel them to a quarterfinal where they lost to Egypt after extra time. It's a result made even more tolerable by the fact that my player to focus on for this Moroccan side wasn't even there. His name's Hakim Ziyech. You might have heard of him. If you haven't, he plays for Chelsea, lit it up with Ajax, the Dutch Giants, for years, and is one of, if not the most technically talented footballer out of Africa. You see, he wasn't available for a lot of qualifying, and he wasn't available for the Africa Cup of Nations because there was a difference of opinion between him and the previous national team coach of Morocco, Khalid Odzic. That guy has since been removed from power, and Ziyech is back in the fold. He participated in recent tune-up friendly against Paraguay. But he was absent from the national team for 15 months, so those results results in qualifying and those results in the Africa Cup of Nations didn't have, I would say, the second best player on Morocco there. He's typically a player that's utilized on the outsides. He can play the wing positions, and he is a brilliant passer, a world-class passer, somebody that has not only the technique, but the eye to open up play. The issue and the reason he's the player to focus on is that this is a Morocco team that's already humming. We already saw what they did to African qualifying, so if you introduce somebody who is a bit of a notorious hothead and had a falling out with the previous coach into that, does it make the team better? Does it augment the team? Or does it mess with a good thing that's already going? That is going to be the entire key to Morocco at this World Cup. Can they integrate that quality that could very well make them the equal of a Croatia or a Belgium in their group? Or will that integration harm them? The way he fit into the team for the friendly against Paraguay was a 4-5-1, and that is the formation that we expect they will bring in to the World Cup itself, especially in a group containing teams like Belgium and Croatia, two teams that are going to come in as the favorite. The defensive solid, you've got Romain Saïs, the captain, and Ashraf Dari, a young guy from the top division of France that's stepping in. Amrabat, Harit, and Boufal all currently play in the top 5 leagues in Europe. And the opposite winger to Hakim Ziyech, Unahi, is a French top league player. May won't be the regular starter at striker, so swap him out for Youssef In-Nesyri, who does operate well as a lone striker and plays at Sevilla in La Liga in Spain. It's actually where the goalkeeper, Bono, plays as well. And if you've noticed that I haven't pointed out somebody that doesn't play in a top 5 league in Europe, that's because there isn't one in the projected starting 11. Most countries that produce golden generations typically have more holes in their lineup, but Morocco goes 15-16 deep of players that get legitimate playing time at top level clubs. And we haven't even talked about the fact the best part of this team are the fullbacks. Achraf Hakimi is arguably the best fullback in the entire world. He plays for PSG, and Noussair Mazraoui plays for Bayern Munich. Those two guys will be lining up on the outside. Now, they're both right-footed, so you're going to have to figure out which one plays on the left, and it looks like Hakimi is the guy for that. But in a matchup against Belgium in particular, where you're going to need world-class defending, they have that on the outside to match up with Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne when he floats into wide spaces. They're familiar with facing that type of opposition. And I do expect this formation could shift into a 4-3-3. It moves there pretty naturally. Ziyech and Unahi can play further up the field. So it's a fluid, deep, talented team. How far are they going to go? Unfortunately, if you've watched the previous 2 videos, you know that I don't have any room for them to get out of the group in my predictions, but I am putting Morocco as a solid 3rd place team. And I'll be honest, after completing my more in-depth research on their team, they are one of the great upset picks at this World Cup. If you think they can finish ahead of Croatia, if Croatia shows up and plays like they did in the Euros group stages last year, I think Morocco finishes ahead of them. There is no room for Belgium or Croatia to slip up because Morocco is going to be sitting there waiting to pounce. I do expect them to pick up the win that they have to pick up in this group. That'll be against the wild card Canada, who if they can, look, who knows what we're going to get out of Canada. But based off the team and the talent and what they've done, this is Morocco's group to surprise. They're going to finish in 3rd, most likely, but do not be surprised at all if they turn into the harbinger of death for either Belgium or Croatia. It's entirely possible. Can they win the whole tournament? Honestly, I won't put the chance at 0. When we did a video simulating the World Cup 100 times, Morocco did actually win it once. If you enjoyed this video, fabulous news. This is obviously a series, and it starts right there, so you have plenty of bingeable content to get you ready and hyped for the World Cup and to know which teams have a chance and which ones don't, and who's in the middle, and how to say some Polish names. It's a great time.